That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
All right, guys, this is going to be the last time that I'm saying it, but I am very sorry of the video quality. I'm going to be making sure as soon as I can, we get it back to our old setup. But yeah, until then, I'm going to continue to make a video for y'all every single day this week, as it's the last week of our fantasy football season. I want to congratulate everyone who made it to their fantasy football championships. I mean, we had so many people in the flock DMing me, sending me tweets, telling me how great their season went. And yeah, I mean, my season was fantastic as well. And I want to personally thank you so much for all the support that you've showed this channel in 2020. I think this will be the last week that we are making videos here until next season though, and I'll continue to make videos every single day on our other channels. But besides that, please make sure you're following us on Instagram and Twitter to get your questions and get the screenshots of your lineups sent to me for our videos later on this week. Well, that's it. And now let's dive into this video. Let's talk about 5 wide receivers that need to be in your starting lineup. And let's start it off with one of the players I was highest on a week ago, and it really did not work out that well, but Terry McLaurin. Okay, guys, I know Terry McLaurin a week ago really only came away with 15 PPR points in a very nice matchup. I know I told y'all to start him in every single one of your leagues, and that's because we are expecting the Washington football team to be playing from behind. We are looking at them going up against a very bad pass defense. We are looking at Terry McLaurin being an elite option at the wide receiver position at the NFL level for Dwayne Haskins. We all know that Dwayne Haskins and Terry McLaurin have that chemistry from Ohio State. And here, in my opinion, it came together. I mean, 12 targets, 7 receptions, and 77 yards. Obviously, the efficiency was not there, but what do I talk about all the time? And why have we had so much success in 2020 so far is we are not going to hyper focus in on the efficiency. If you look at the efficiency, if you look at the fantasy points per target and you try to go out there and expand that to a different set of volume, it's going to be so hard to do because that efficiency is volatile week to week. What sticks and what matters is volume. And that's exactly what Terry McLaurin has in this offense. And that's exactly what we are going to continue to chase. Obviously, you don't chase volume if it's coming with a situation like Kelvin Benjamin a few years ago in Carolina, when you have a wide receiver that you know is not talented in the slightest, when you have a very bad offense and that wide receiver is very unathletic. But here, that's not the case with Terry McLaurin. Yes, this is a very bad offense with some of the worst quarterback play in the entire NFL. But at this point, Terry McLaurin has proven to be one of the stud wide receivers at such a young age at the NFL level. I'm going to completely admit it. I really bought into Terry McLaurin coming into the NFL in our dynasty rookie drafts, but everywhere I had him, which was so many leagues, I sold him high coming into the season, and at least I thought I was selling him high, but no, it's like selling Tesla stock at $400 a share. I mean, what are you doing here? I wish I could go back and recoup all of those Terry McLaurin shares I had, because McLaurin looks like he is an absolute alpha in the Washington football offense. He's going to continue to soak up that volume. I'm not worried about the matchup against the Carolina Panthers. I think the Washington football team is going to be a little bit forced to go pass happy here, as the Carolina Panthers should be able to put points up on the board. All right, so now our next wide receiver that we're going to talk about is someone else that I was very high on a week ago, someone else that did not really come through with what we were expecting, and this is Allen Robinson. Okay, here with Allen Robinson, the one problem that we saw this past week was we really just did not see this passing game get going for the Chicago Bears. We saw them be able to lean on David Montgomery for over 30 rush attempts. We know that is something that pretty much is never going to be replicated for the Chicago Bears. They are going to have to go a little bit more pass happy, even though this is not the matchup for them to do so against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, I think in theory, they lean on the run once they get a lead in this game, which should happen. The Chicago Bears should be heavy favorites, given the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars are severely mismatched on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But here with Allen Robinson, we still know that this is a very talented wide receiver, soaking up about 25 to 30% of his team's targets every single week. Very similar situation to a Terry McLaurin. Yes, he does not have the best quarterback in the NFL. Yes, he is not playing in one of the better offenses in the NFL, but at the end of the day, he is getting so much volume in his offense. He's a very athletic wide receiver, and we know that he just has the talent at the catch point, where I think despite on paper, this matchup looking like the Chicago Bears are going to get away with being very run heavy, I think here we actually see this offense be able to put points up on the board with the passing game early on and then transition to the running game with David Montgomery later. Okay, so now our third wide receiver we're going to talk about is someone that is truly emerging as an elite option at the wide receiver position, Brandon Aiyuk. I mean, I liked him in the 2020 draft class. I mean, I targeted him in our dynasty rookie drafts, but I never expected this. I mean, I never expected him to come out here and just completely dominate. 9 receptions, 73 yards, a touchdown off of 13 targets this past week. I mean, how many weeks can Brandon Aiyuk do this? What is most impressive about Aiyuk is, like I've said, I mean, he has missed multiple games so far this season, and in games where he has missed, he's had other wide receivers in his offenses step up to take that wide receiver 1 role and look very good while doing so. I mean, we saw this with Richie James having the #1 wide receiver week against the Green Bay Packers about 2 months ago, I want to say. And then we also saw this with Deebo Samuel about a month ago in the game where Brandon Aiyuk missed. And you really did not know what the target share was going to look like for Aiyuk when he was coming back into this offense. But I mean, he has come back, and every time he has come back, he's been seeing a ridiculous amount of targets. I mean, in week 14, it was 16 targets. In week 13, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it was right up there in that 14 range. And then this past week, in week 15, he had 13 total targets. I mean, Brandon Aiyuk is soaking up so much volume. Really, it looks like he could be the best rookie wide receiver out of this draft class. I don't want to give him that title yet with Justin Jefferson, showing that elite efficiency with CeeDee Lamb, looking so dynamic with Dak Prescott early on, with Chase Claypool coming out here and having some massive spike weeks with Ben Roethlisberger in that offense, and many other wide receivers that we could talk about. But Brandon Aiyuk is making this 2020 wide receiver class that I had already deemed the best wide receiver class in NFL history about 2 months ago as even a better class. I mean, I did not expect this with Brandon Aiyuk, but I think that we could be talking about him as a top early round draft pick at the wide receiver position in 2021. I mean, ridiculous the amount of targets that he is seeing in this offense. He's going up against the Arizona Cardinals in week 16. So this game should be high scoring. We know the Cardinals like to push the pace. We know the Cardinals are going to put points up on the board. So Brandon Aiyuk needs to be in our starting lineups. Okay, so now our next wide receiver that we are going to talk about. I had so many DMs thanking us for telling people to start him a week ago. Corey Davis, I mean, just absolutely balling out against the Detroit Lions in week 15. And now he's going in to the Green Bay Packers, coming off a 4-reception, 110-yard performance with a touchdown. I mean, Corey Davis has fully emerged. This is why I liked him so much coming out of Western Michigan back in that 2017 draft class. This is why in dynasty leagues, I was trading for him in 2019. Yeah, Corey Davis is an elite wide receiver. Sucks that he's having to play with A.J. Brown, as A.J. Brown is one of the best wide receivers at the NFL level. I mean, if you took Corey Davis and you could put him on a multitude of NFL teams where you would automatically be the wide receiver 1 for that franchise. But still, against the Green Bay Packers, this is going to be one of the highest scoring games of the week, if not the highest scoring game of the week. And I think that we have Jared Alexander going up against A.J. Brown, so that should leave Corey Davis up to really run free. Should be Ryan Tannehill's favorite target. Obviously, we have Derrick Henry just going berserk at the end of the season like he has done so many times before. But like I said a week ago, I mean, there is room for Derrick Henry to eat as well as the other players in this offense. I mean, I would argue that Corey Davis even ran a little cold this past week as Ryan Tannehill stole away 2 touchdowns at the goal line. We know that that's not something we're going to project every single week. So you give Ryan Tannehill's 2 rushing touchdowns away from him and maybe give 1 to Derrick Henry and then 1 through the air. And then we could see even a bigger day from Corey Davis. Okay, so now our last wide receiver we're going to talk about is someone that I have to apologize for telling people to start him. Keenan Allen, I mean, just abysmal last Thursday night. And this was clearly due to the injury that he was dealing with. 1 reception, 17 yards, 3 targets. I really don't want to talk about this too much. Just knowing that Keenan Allen has been an elite wide receiver pretty much every single week he has been healthy for the Los Angeles Chargers in 2020. The only problem with Keenan Allen is that injury, but we know that game was played on Thursday a week ago, so he has 10 days to rest up for this game against the Denver Broncos on Sunday. I think he should be fully good to go. If Keenan Allen plays, he's going to be in my starting lineup. All right, now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all got something from it. And yeah, that's it. I will be making a video for tomorrow. I will also be trying to live stream tomorrow night as well. I really hope to see y'all there.